Through this video, I would like to take you quickly through an introduction to the PSI Foundation's Resident Research Grant, as well as how to set up an account with them so that you can actually get started on this. The purpose for what we're going to do in this video is to make sure you're aware of what the PSI grants are, how to set up an account, and to review the online grant submission process. As a bit of background, Physician Services Incorporated, or PSI, formed a foundation around 1970 to support research in medicine. Physician Services Incorporated is an organization that was set up by physicians in Ontario long ago. In 1970, the organization created the foundation, or the PSI Foundation. Its mission was to improve the health of Ontarians through supporting research. They provided grants for research in two primary areas: education of practicing physicians and health research relevant to patient care. Resident research grants have become an important part of the PSI Foundation. These are short-term grants lasting just 12 months. They can be up to $20,000, and they have to be in one of these three areas: clinical research, medical education research and development, or health systems research. So this is the website for the PSI Foundation grants. We're going to go there now, and I'm going to take you through the process of setting up an account. So first, go to your browser. Now enter www.psifoundation.org. All right, and this is a website that comes up. You can see there's a lot of different links here. As an applicant, you'll go here, funding programs, and you can scroll down here and it shows resident research grants. Click there. It'll bring you here, and it just gives you a little bit of information about resident research grants. But to open things up, go down to the bottom here and click on the link. So again, application forms and guidelines. So again, you get here, shows various information. You can see a sample application form here. But for resident research, applications are now all done online. So let me scroll down here, and you can see resident research grant. So this is the information about it. Online application. So click there. Okay. I already have an account set up, but if you haven't done this, this area will be blank. Instead, you'll come over here and create new account. You'll enter all this information, and it'll automatically set up an account for you that way. You'll be able to log in here using your new login. This is what's going to come up, right? Health research grant, healthcare research by community physician grant, new investigator grant, and here the bottom one, resident research grant. Now, I had already started one to go through the process of setting one up. This would normally just say apply here, as it does right here. But I'm going to show you, we're going to go in and just have a quick look at the application. Okay. You can see here's my application, resident research grant. And when I set this up, I gave it a title so that it could be tracked: David Taylor's research, caffeine intake, and incidence of essential tremor in residency program directors. Okay. So that's what we're going to look at. This is a home screen that's going to come up once you open that. You'll see there's a lot of different places that you're going to be required to enter information. A lot of these are very straightforward. The key areas that you're going to want to focus on for your grant development are application contents, budget, as well as study summary, and we'll come back to that. So let's look at the application contents. The PSI grant has four main areas: statement of objectives and specific aims of the project in the form of a hypothesis, and this is just about a page. Statement of relevance, about half a page, and in this you really want to focus on what the relevance and impact of this proposal is going to be on health, but specifically health of Ontarians. Next is the background rationale and present state of knowledge. All right, so this is really your background. We'll get into this in particular during the grant writing workshop. Finally, project design, methodology, and analysis. All right, this is actually going to be the bulk of your research grant application. Finally, it's really important to demonstrate that this is in fact a grant that's going to be going to a resident doing research. So it's important at the bottom you need to write about 1 page describing your role as a resident in the study. I'm going to go back to the dashboard now. Next is the budget. I just want to show you this. Before the grant writing workshop, there's no point in spending any time on this. Dr. Graham Smith is going to go through how to develop a budget during the workshop, and once you've done that, this will make a lot more sense. But what you want to see, you can see you enter an item, an amount, and a rationale. Then at the bottom, it'll actually automatically calculate it. What you see is they actually have different divisions. Personal item, equipment, materials and supplies, conference and presentations, other expenses. So you'll actually be able to organize your budget according to these different kinds of items. Investigators, this is pretty straightforward. Sponsoring institution, this is pretty straightforward. Study summary. Okay. Project title, type of research, funding requested, project start date, project end date, and again, that's 12 months. And then a brief lay summary. Okay. That's really all there is to that. So again, I'm going to scroll down, return to dashboard. You'll have any appendices listed here. You may have suggested external reviewers to look at the grant, and then signatures. And that's it. It's a really straightforward grant. You're going to have your statement of objectives, your statement of relevance, your background and rationale, your project design, methods and analysis, and your budget. Once you have all these things completed for your grant application, you'll actually be able to submit it to the Department of Medicine grant review process. This will serve as an extra source for feedback to make sure that your grant is in as good shape as possible before you submit. Thinking about the upcoming grant writing workshop, make sure you come prepared. Meet with your PI to discuss the project and the PSI grant before coming to the workshop. Prepare a brief skeleton of the grant, thinking about your grant application's components, and in particular, think about the methods with respect to your project. And finally, I don't want you to worry about the budget for now. We'll deal with that after the workshop. That's all for now. Make sure you take the time to set up your PSI Foundation account. Looking forward to seeing you at the grant writing workshop.